Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today with another Pro v Pro at CWA. This time, the returning champion Diegob is facing off against Backstabx. Now, who is Backstabx? Well, most of you probably already know this guy. He's a Clash stud. He won the Crown Duel event and he bought this sweet car with the winnings. 15K, baby, and he also bought his parents a vacation, so what a sweet guy on top of, you know, having a new hot ride. So he's going to face off again against Diego. I decided to kind of keep these Pro v Pro episodes going in a King of the Hill format. So as most of you know, Diegob beat Surgical Goblin, actually taking Surgical Goblin's crown. Surgical Goblin previously had been undefeated, and Diegob actually, in kind of an upset to some people, actually swept him in the last Pro v Pro. Surgical Goblin, a very good player, of course, and it was very impressive. So let's see if he can keep his title here. You can see we're already into match 1, and this ought to be a really good showdown. Remember, best of 5, no special rules, no banned cards. It's straight up, use any deck you want, win or lose, and it looks like Backstabx here is playing a Hog Cycle deck on the bottom, Diegob playing a Lava Hound. I can only guess it's the infamous LavaLoon deck at the top. And if I can be so bold to shamelessly self-promote, well, I guess it's my channel, so I can if I want to. I actually shared a video on this LavaLoon deck that Diegob is playing yesterday with Trainer Nick in a Pro Tips episode where we broke down the match play by play. Now, Backstabx here, going back to the match, did what you're supposed to do. He played the Hog in the opposite lane out as the LavaLoon, but look at Backstabx's deck. He only has the Musketeer as really the only counter to the LavaLoon combo. That's gonna be big issues. He has the cannon to distract by a little bit of time, and of course he also has the fireball. I don't know what that last card is going to be by Backstabx there, but I assume he probably would have played it a minute and a half or so into the match if it was a viable counter to the LavaLoon. I'm not sure, maybe it wasn't up in his rotation, but however, we'll see it soon enough, no matter what that card is. Maybe it's another spell. We'll have to wait and see there what that last card is for Backstabx. But either way, now Diegob is actually in a really good position here, a position of strength, especially playing a LavaLoon deck, which, as you guys know, only gets better into double elixir time. I feel like Hog Cycle decks, they really shine early on in a match, and I feel like LavaLoon decks actually shine later in the match. Still haven't seen that last card from either of these players here. So, oh, there it is. Minions, interesting. So I'm sure they would have came in handy against that LavaLoon combo earlier. Maybe he just didn't have them in hand, or maybe he didn't have the elixir available to use them. So the last card by Diegob is obviously, well, I say obviously, I'm not even sure. I think it's a Zap. So it's the Zap is his last card in this deck if he's playing the standard deck. It looks like he might not even need it at this point here. All he has to do is just defend at this point. He has the Lava Hound, which is actually a great play there because it's going to stop anything other than the Hog Rider coming to support the Hog in that lane. He's coming super aggressive now, playing the balloon there, just a hair too early on the balloon. It was targeted by the King Tower, but either way, it's going to be a victory here for Diegob to open up this Pro vs Pro. A very nice victory with the LavaLoon deck against Backstab, and Backstab again with only the Musketeer in rotation there, just struggling against that very first LavaLoon push there by Diego. So it'll be interesting to see if either of these players switch different decks or if they stay with what works, especially in Diegob's case. Now, it's kind of like the rock, paper, scissors game, right? When you play paper, you beat your opponent who just played rock. Do you keep playing paper and try to make mind games with them, or do you switch it up? I don't know. I mean, me, I kind of suck at rock, paper, scissors, which is a stupid comment to make because you can't suck in a game of total chance, but I still do. Anyway, let's go on to match number 2 here. Let's see what these guys are playing, and both of them open up with a brand new card. So Diegob, this time on the bottom, guys, opens up with the Furnace, while Backstabx opens up with the Elixir Collector at the top. So I was just gonna say, Diegob probably gonna go aggressive with his win condition here, knowing that Backstab was low on Elixir, and that he does. He plays a Knight to distract the tower, then he plays Graveyard almost immediately afterwards. He's able to get about 1/3, actually a little bit more than that HP off that right tower. So now he's in a pretty solid position, considering the Elixir Collector is about halfway finished. finished. So all he has to do, oh, there's another elixir collector. I'm eating my words there, and there comes the fireball, which isn't really a bad play for Diego there, knowing that he did not have the graveyard back in his cycle at that point. Now, playing a fireball against an elixir collector, you actually lose 1 elixir in the exchange as the fireball player, but the upside is you do a little bit of damage to the tower, so it's not always a bad play, even though you are technically losing in the elixir exchange. The elixir collector will still produce 3 elixir, but you're losing 4 elixir on your fireball. So now the big golem comes into play here, but a pretty good job so far defending on Diego's part here. He's using the ice golem to distract those archers, allowing that musketeer more time to chip away at the golem HP. You guys know that the golemites, can still cause a considerable amount of damage, especially considering they'd be tanking for those archers if the archers weren't dealt with and distracted by that ice golem. Ice golem definitely one of the most versatile cards in the entire game right now. So now we know both of these players' entire decks here. So Backstab is playing that golem elite barbarian, a very tricky deck to deal with, and Diego is playing in a graveyard deck with the furnace, a very interesting deck here with the musketeer minions, a lot of defensive cards. He has that 1 tank in the knight, and you're going to want to notice how Diego deals with the elite barbarians, especially in tandem with the golem. He's probably going to kite the elite barbarians right below the river on his side of the map on the opposite lane with the knight or the ice golem, and then play the minions right on top of them. In my mind, that is the best way to deal with elite barbarians in this game. Kite them into the opposite lane and drop the minions on top of them. I'll point it out if he does it henceforth in this match. So coming up here, this could be a very big play here, a very big push for Backstab. He has basically the same amount of elixir. He goes opposite lane with those elite barbarians, and that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's the counter right there. The knight in the opposite lane, you kite the elite barbarians right below the river, and then you play the minions right afterwards, right on the elite barbarians. It's the best way, in my opinion, again, to deal with elite barbarians for the cost of only 5 elixir, so you still come out with 1 extra elixir in the exchange, and surprise, and there it is again here, guys. The knight played in the opposite lane below the river, and there's the minions. Had to wait for the elixir there, so a little bit late on the minions, but there was nothing he could do other than that, but a very good counter there. That's the way to do it, guys. And at this point, Backstab's in a little bit of trouble here because the tower very, very low on HP. All it really takes at this point is Diego to defend right here, a big defense, and then he goes offensive with the graveyard. Oh, that fireball just narrowly missing those elite barbarians. 1 second later and would have got the elite barbarians, and that would have spelled big TROUBLE for Backstab. And now at this point, this could be it. Here's the graveyard. Now the fireball is not in rotation. He has zap though. Oh, the fireball is in rotation, and there it is. Look at me totally miscounting my cards, and there it is. The zap ends the game. A very nice victory there for Diego B again. So this is it. If Diego B wins again, he can pull off back-to-back sweeps. This would be unprecedented, or actually it wouldn't be unprecedented because I think Surgical Goblin actually pulled off back-to-back sweeps as well. So let's see what these guys do. Now they both again have the opportunity to change their decks. So while we're kind of buying time until they're ready for their next match, I wanted to ask you guys what you think of the King of the Hill format. Now previously I had just kind of been picking up pros wherever I could find them basically, but now the demand is getting to be a little bit higher, and I've been reached out by quite a few really good players in the game, and everybody kind of wants a Pro v Pro, which is awesome because it does take a lot of guts to put your name out there to kind of face off against another really good player at tournament level standards on the cards. So do you guys like the King of the Hill format? Do you think that I should keep whoever wins this one as the pro to beat and see if anybody can dethrone him? Or do you guys like having new fresh faces, and then maybe I can even do some sort of a bracket on these Pro v Pro things? I don't know. The possibilities are certainly endless. Don't want to miss this match. Let's hop into Game 3. Now remember, guys, If Diegob wins this match, he is the winner again. So the pressure here is on Backstabx to pull something out of his hat here for Diego. So Diego opens up with a Mega Minion, Backstab with a Bowler, can only assume Backstabx is playing a Graveyard deck. Oh, and there's a Bowler by Diego, so I'm going to assume this is definitely a Graveyard versus Graveyard match again here for Game 3. And not to be a meta hater, but it probably says something about the meta that I can guess basically the entire decks of both players just based on their first 1 or 2 cards, but either way, it looks like Backstabx is going to strike first here. Diego doing everything he can to counter with the Boulder and the Tombstone of his own, but he did end up getting a little bit of damage off that right tower. It looks like both of these players are probably going to be playing offense in the same lane here, and when that happens and both players are playing mirror wing conditions, I actually think the advantage goes to the player that strikes first. At least that's been my experience, so I would say that Backstabx, even though he didn't get a ton of damage off that tower, he should be relatively happy about the start to this match. But there comes the Graveyard for Diegob and the Fireball to follow, so maybe a Zap spell could take down that Musketeer, but he wasn't able to do too much damage there, and now he has a Bowler Musketeer coming at him in the right lane. Does Backstabx play the Graveyard? Indeed he does here, and he played the early Graveyard, which was actually a really smart move there, because although it didn't work in that specific scenario, an early Graveyard play gives the time for the tower to be distracted by the skeleton spawned by the Graveyard, thus keeping alive the Musketeer in the Bowler. Of course, just a hair too late there, but it was the right idea there by Backstab, and Backstab does have a pretty healthy lead in terms of tower damage differential at this point. So a defensive play there by Diego. He was full on Elixir, and look at this, the Inferno Tower. That's going to cause even more problems for Diego. Although he's not playing a defensive targeting unit in the deck, it's still going to do a good job at killing Diego's Bowler before it even engages against Backstab's Bowler. So this actually could be a pretty decent push here for Backstab, believe it or not. Fireball against the tower, takes down the Tombstone. Diego switches lanes with a Graveyard of his own, but look at this, it's gonna be trouble for Diego this match here. He plays another Bowler, doing basically all he can do. He knows that Graveyard is coming. He plays the Ice Golem, plays the Tombstone, but I don't think it's gonna be enough here. Here comes the Fireball, and Backstabx takes down the right tower, and this looks to be a win for Backstabx. Only 13 seconds left on the clock. Nothing Diego can do at this point. He plays a Graveyard, but he knows it's GG at this point. And how about that, guys? It was do or die for Backstab, and he shows what he's made of there. Pulls off the clutch victory. Well, not even clutch. Well, it was clutch in the sense that he had to win, but it wasn't clutch in the sense that it wasn't that close. So Backstabx pulls off a victory, so it's now 2 wins for Diego, 1 win for Backstabx. Remember, guys, it's best out of 5 matches, so Backstabx still in the position where he has to win here, and we're going on to match number 4, and I think both of these players will have to make fresh decks, because I'm assuming both of them use their 3 go-to decks here. So this is going to be super interesting. I mean, at this point, both players do, of course, have the option of using or reusing a deck that they already won with. So does Backstabx stick with the deck that he just used? He could be playing mind games at this point with Diego. We'll have to wait and see here. Diego might go ahead and go with the LavaLoon deck. He had a lot of success with that deck. Remember, it was the one that he won with the very first match of the contest. So guys, while these guys make their last decks, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and bring it back to you once we're live into Game 4. Alright guys, here we are live into match 4. It's Diegob at the top, Backstabx at the bottom. Backstabx needs to pull off the win here to stay alive. Diegob, if he wins, will be the crowned 2-time champion here. So let's see. Oh, and look at this, a surprise by Diego playing the Royale Giant in back of the King Tower. Oh, and then Backstabx playing the LavaLoon deck, which we hypothesized maybe Diegob would be playing. So this ought to be a really interesting matchup here. So a Mega Minion played all the way in the back for Diego, trying to play some early defense against the Lava Hound, and there's the balloon right on cue there. This is going to be a tough defense here for Diego. The Lava Hound is taking the attention of the minions and the Mega Minion, and the balloon's going to get to the tower early. Oh, no! I stand corrected, my friends. A tornado play there by Diego. Oh my god, that was a clutch tornado tornado there. Wow, didn't expect that to be coming, and I'm sure BackstabX didn't plan on that either. I thought for sure the balloon was getting to that tower, and wow, that was a wow moment for me there. And now a Royale Giant played at the river. I'll tell you what, guys, tornado, I think should be getting a little bit more love than it's actually getting in the game right now. In situations like that, it's actually really, really effective. It's also effective against elite barbarians. You can pull them back towards the bridge, allowing the crown tower to do extra damage to elite barbarians, and really it mitigates their movement speed for the duration of the tornado spell, and it also buys you a little bit extra time to get that ice golem or whatever you have as a counter back into your hand, into rotation. So here we go again, another square off, a Lava Hound by BackstabX versus a Mega Minion for Diegob. The Furnace this time is already on the board for Diego. He has the Royale Giant, I think one more card back in rotation, so you can expect after this defense here, there'll probably be an immediate Royale Giant play. And then, here we go again, showing the effectiveness of the tornado, pulling that balloon back on the other side of the bridge, and of course, doing no damage ultimately to the tower. So there comes, again, called it, the immediate Royale Giant play, and then a Lava Hound play in the opposite lane, surprise Lava Hound play at the bridge there for BackstabX. So Backstab needs to get something going here, and you gotta figure the reason that Backstab played that Lava Hound in the right lane just then so aggressively is because he wanted to catch Diego, maybe with the tornado out of rotation. I can only imagine, because at this point, all Diego really has to do is continue to chip away at that left tower with the Royale Giant, and look at that, says good game, does BackstabX, and the last card in Diegob's interesting deck there is Lightning, so he's playing a Royale Giant Lightning Tornado Furnace deck. Very, very difficult to deal with. Certainly a surprise there in that tornado play. At least I was shocked there. And look at that, Diegob is our new, well, not new, is our returning champion. So congratulations to Diego. Let me just say good game to both of these players here. Again, guys, I say this every time, but it's true. You gotta really give it up to both of these players coming on the channel. It takes guts, it takes intestinal fortitude, and they both kind of put their name on the line. They're both amazing players. BackstabX proving it in the Crown Duel, beating thousands to get to #1 there, and Diegob proving it again with this victory. So Diegob remains the king of the hill, so to speak. Who's the next challenger? Not everybody has the guts to put their name on the line, but can we find anybody to take down Diegob? If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. And again, huge thanks to both of these guys, BackstabX and Diegob. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.